This morning I checked into my Twitter mailbox, and I see a post that Steven Crowder dropped into my mailbox. And it's a big scoop that Crowder got, which is he got leaked the first 3 pages of the Nashville trans shooters manifesto. Now, the trans shooter, of course, is the 28-year-old transgender male who was going by the name Aiden Hale. It was actually Audrey Hale. But in any event, this manifesto has been around. It was actually found on, I don't know if it was found at the scene of the crime or in Hale's apartment, but nevertheless, it has never been released. Now, you might think about why they didn't release it. I think the reason is obvious. They acted like, well, we're thinking about releasing it, but we're not really a little uncomfortable about releasing it because of the danger that it might pose to the safety of trans people. Wait a minute, you got a trans shooter. And the trans shooter revealed the motives for the shooting. And you're not releasing it. That doesn't seem to be a valid reason. What is the real reason? Well, I think the real reason is pretty obvious, and that is that the government has been putting out the propaganda that the threat is coming from the right. The threat is not coming from the trans. The threat is against the trans. The threat is from white supremacists. And so, as a result, here you've got facts that support a counter-narrative. And the counter-narrative is, wait a minute, there is a clear-cut case here of left-wing, ideologically motivated violence against conservatives and Christians. And that's why a Christian school was targeted. This wasn't an accidental choice. And the manifesto is going to shed some light on that. And we still don't have the whole manifesto. But I don't know how Crowder got it, but we got the beginnings of the manifesto. And the beginnings of the manifesto tell you exactly why they tried to suppress it. Here we go. So Hale, the shooter, talks about the fact that, I quote, "want to kill all you little crackers." So right here you see the idea that you guys are, cracker, of course, is a slur for white people. I'm going to kill you white people. Quote, I have a high death count. I'm ready. I hope my victims aren't. I'm ready to die. And then it goes on to talk about the fact that, and it talks about those crackers, quote, going to private fancy schools. Now, a Christian school generally is private. It's not exactly a fancy school, but from the left's twisted ideological point of view, if it's a Christian school and a private school, it's privileged. Because after all, everybody else is going to public school. With those fancy khakis and sports backpacks. So you've got here that class resentment. So you have the racial element, you've got the anti-Christian element with the fancy khakis and sports backpacks, with their daddy's Mustangs and convertibles. F you, little shits. I wish to shoot you with your mop yellow hair, kill all you little crackers with your white privileges. Interesting, isn't it? And then interestingly, F you, F-A-G-G-O-T-S. Here's a transgender person using that term, faggot, as a slur. So this is the twisted world that these people come out of. But this is also why the FBI is like, we don't want to release this, because if we do, it becomes obvious that this lunatic was motivated by hatred of Christians, hatred of kids that she sees as somehow privileged, even though it's not obvious that they are at all. These stereotypes of these kids coming in their daddy's Mustangs, they're, quote, they are little crackers. I mean, imagine thinking of children in this way and thinking that they somehow deserve to die. And so this is a force that is in our society. And I'm sure that Audrey Hale or Aiden Hale is not the only person that thinks like this. And so you would think that the FBI, if the FBI was doing its law enforcement job, they'd be like, well, yeah, all right. There might be some threats that come from over here, but now there are also some serious threats that are coming from over here, and we need to investigate this as a wider phenomenon. But they don't want to do that because they're putting out this one-sided narrative that threats are coming from, the grandmothers who went in the Capitol on January 6th. Meanwhile, these greater threats that are coming from the other side ideologically are somehow ignored. There's nothing worse than hearing about people living in pain. This is why I want to tell you about Keith from Washington and his Relief Factor story. After years of activity, from college football to running a martial arts studio, at age 51, Keith's body felt like it was wearing out. So he gave Relief Factor a try. Keith says he now has, quote, little to no pain in my knees and highly reduced neck pain. He's feeling so much better. He pursued a second-degree black belt. What a story. And you know, on a personal note, it has worked for me and Debbie, our family, and friends. If you're living with aches and pains, see how Relief Factor, a daily drug-free supplement, could help you feel and live better every day. To get you started, try the Relief Factor 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with a feel better or your money back guarantee visit. ReliefFactor.com is the place to go, or call 800-4-RELIEF. Again, the number to call, 800-4-RELIEF, or go to ReliefFactor.com. You'll feel the difference.